Can you believe we're on day 17? And when we think about day 17 on our journey and our process to the dream, one thing that we might want to remember is that absolutely everything that we need for the fulfillment of our dreams, we already have it. So if you're ready, let's go.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone.
Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. What an honor and privilege it is to be before you all for yet another live stream night here on the Debt Demolisher TV, where we have been coming here night after night after night after night after night as we've been reading the book, The Dream Chaser by Mr. Tony Gaskins. This has been a phenomenal business book to read. So real, so clean cuts, just so much wisdom inside of this book. And I can't believe that we're on day 27 and we are winding down until we reach the ending of the month. And I'm hoping that you all are really excited about the readings and have been able to take something from what you've been reading and hopefully putting things actually into practice. So in honor of National Black Business Month, we have been honoring Mr. Tony Gaskins by reading his book. He was the book selection for this month. Totally necessary. Welcome, Q Scott. Q Scott is in the room. She says, welcome back, everyone. We have been going hard on this DDTV multiple session Saturday. Absolutely. This is our third live stream on the DDTV channel today. And then we got class at 8 o'clock. So you already know we're going to be in Mr. Tony Gaskins' Saturday school class tonight. It starts at 8. So I'm going to be off of here in about 30 or 45 minutes. Okay. Awesome. But Q Scott is saying it's time for day 27's discussion of Tony Gaskins' book, The Dream Chaser. And she also has dropped the link on Amazon to purchase your copy of the book. So it's there in the chat. If you're just tuning in, it's not too late for you to jump in. It's not too late for you to jump in and get the book. Pick up the book, get your copy, and you could always come back to the replays if you want to do it the same way that we have by taking it 8 to 9 pages at a time. Thank you, Q Scott. But hey, Q Scott, hey, Q Scott, let's go. I got to do a short because you know we're on a time. Let's go. We got Queen Lisa H in the room. She says, greetings, DDTV family. Greetings, Queen Lisa H. You came in the room with the takeoff stamp. You got the takeoff stamp. I said, Queen Lisa H got the takeoff stamp because she's ready to go. Let's go, Queen Lisa H. So glad that you're in the room. Let's go, Sherry. Let's go, Sherry. Let's go. Sherry's in the room, says, hey y'all once again. And Q Scott is dropping the alert to remind us that this will be an abbreviated session. Yes, because we have class with Tony Gaskins tonight for his Saturday school, and we're going to be in the room. So I'm so glad that you guys are here today. I want you guys to really think about how far we've come thus far in this book. We're on day 27, but it's not the end. This is not the end. We're on day 27. Not only do we have day 27, we have day 28, we have day 29, we have day 30, and we have day 31 that still proceeds. So there's still a lot more that we have space to learn and grow from. So even if we feel like we're so late in the game, that does not mean that you can't jump in. That does not mean that you can't find something that resonated with you the most and you took intentional action on pressing forward with it. Amen. Amen. All right. Acacia says, I am greetings, DDTV fam. I'm driving. Please be safe driving. Q Scott over there laughing at me. I told you I was going to be abbreviated. I can't do what I normally do because we on a time crunch. Lisa Smiles is here. Hey, Lisa Smiles. So good to see you. Welcome. on into this room. Thank you so much. Yes. She says my channel is growing. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, so much, so much. Yours is too, honey, child. Yours is too, honey. I'm so excited. You on your way to 1K. Let's go. Let's go all the way. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So you guys, we're going to jump into our conversation because we have some things to cover. And again, a lot of the things that we covered inside of this chapter was more so like really, I felt like it was more so strategy. So I'm not going to share specifically what was said inside of it because again, I want to encourage you all, if you've been tuning in every day on this live stream and didn't get a copy of the book, but you're just soaking in the knowledge, which is fine, which is good. But I just really want to encourage you to get your copy of the book so that you can, fully support the author and everything that he's allowing us to be able to experience. And that's with any other author that we cover on this channel. But this book, all of the books have just been wonderful on top of wonderful on top of wonderful on top of wonderful. So it's just been the perfect play, I believe. So our reading assignment for today was for us to start with page 223, and we had to read all the way up to 230. So 223 all the way to 227 allowed us to finish up chapter 19 around designing your own path. Because remember, we talked about yesterday how the 15 minutes of fame, it could be a good thing and a bad thing. It could be a good thing if you prepare properly for it and you're not distracted by the fame. And it could be a bad thing if you allow the fame to kind of get to your head and take you over or whatever. So on page 23, 220, y'all get tongue-tied, tongue twisted, everything. On page 223, towards the bottom, Tony Gaskins began to talk about his strategy of how he would go on tours, because he would do like book tours, he had to promote his book. He would do speaking events and things of that nature. And he was talking about how he was shopping around, because we're going to make this a whole business lesson today so that we can be done in time. But what I learned while reading this chapter was that in business, you still have to be, it's like, I understand when you have to delegate, but you still have to be involved in some way, shape, or form so that you won't be taken advantage of. So the example that Tony gave in the book around somebody wanted to charge him $8,000 to put together a tour, when he literally was able to do it himself on a budget, and it took him no time to be able to do it. So when we look at how we're operating in business, sometimes we may feel like we don't have the financial resources to be able to expend over a certain period, which is fine, because we do want to make sure that we're budgeting effectively inside of our businesses. But I think it's important for us to take some initiative to really do the investigation to see, well, what does it really take to do what I'm planning to pay somebody $8,000 for? Like, what does it really take to do what it is that somebody is charging me $8,000 to do? So he said he learned after a few events that, when you're looking for spaces and venues, come on, somebody, you can do it on a budget. He was basically saying, and this was back then, so I don't know if it's still prevalent now, but it doesn't hurt to try. What is it saying? Closed mouths don't get fed. But if you read the bottom of page 223, you all will know exactly what I'm talking about, because he gave the story around how he would put the authorization for the rooms in the conference rooms and stuff that he was booking for the tours that he was doing. He would put it on the authorization card so that he could use his business credit card to secure the space. And one of the requirements for the business card that he had was if they swiped it, the money had to be available. Like, it had to be available. So when they used the authorization form, of course, it took a couple of days or whatever to process. So he was saying, like, once he got the contract signed, he secured the room and all of that, he went into promotion hard. So he basically shared like his live event strategy, like how he hit the ground running, secured the space, and then start promoting it to get that money, especially what was signed as it relates to what was signed inside of that contract, whatever the contracted amount was. So he talked about his strategy and what he did there. He said that he worked so hard and he worked so fast that his designers were always reliable because I created so much stuff that they ended up being paid what seemed like a salary because he was spending $400 a week with his graphic designers and those who were creating, the graphics and all of that stuff for him. He talked about too having options with who you even contract with in terms of having independent contractors to do a certain task or job or whatever for you. And he said that if one designer got too busy, I brought somebody else on. I will bring somebody else on, get them to learn the ropes, and use the same plan. If they got too busy, then find somebody else. This takes me to the quote of the day. The quote of the day says, I want you to know that if you don't have all the tools and all the connections, you can do it your way. Oh, I mistyped that in the quote card. Oops, I just saw that. You can do it. Let's just say you can do it your way. You can do it your way. He also says that it can still work when you do it your way. So even if you don't have all the connections, you don't have all of the tools, you don't have all of the resources, there's always a way. There is always a way. He said that he upgraded his strategies as time progressed so that it would make sense to him at that time. He also said that he didn't want to have to depend on any one individual. So when you're thinking about what you're dreaming and what you're creating and everything, Coach Natisha's here. Hi, Coach Natisha. Oh my gosh, so good to see you. Welcome on into the room. We missed you. What a nice surprise. So glad that you're here. So glad that you are here. Come on, Coach Natisha. Let's go. Let's love on Coach Natisha, everybody. Let's love on Coach Natisha. I'm keeping you up on the screen. He says that I don't want to have to depend on any single individual to operate my business. Right now, I'm trying. Oh, then he's talking. Okay. So when you're starting your business too, you want to think about optimistically, realistically, who do you need in your camp and how long do you think you're going to need them in your camp? Because if you rely too heavily on a person when they leave, or if they transition or move on to something else or change fields or have a change of heart, then you may be stuck in a place where you're trying to figure out how you're going to have someone else fulfill that role, but you haven't even been involved in that role. So you're not even 100% of how they did what they did. And it can probably cause some frustration or some distraction when it comes to you building your dream. I circled this piece on page 225 where he says that some people, he says, I'll probably end up taking someone's course. The scary part about it is that these info guys online don't teach the courses the way I do. So he was basically saying if he doesn't want to pay somebody to do something, he's going to learn how to do it and then execute it on his own. And then when he's ready to transition it off to somebody else, he would. But he was talking about the piece around people overcomplicating things when it comes to the learning environment. He says they overcomplicate everything and make their little online courses feel like you're going to Harvard Business School. And it's ridiculous. He says that they want to appear as though they are giving you a lot for your money. What they don't realize is that they're actually doing too much and demoralizing you instead of motivating you. He says that he's decided to take the Albert Einstein approach or the Albert Einstein advice and get his products to the point that it could be explained to a 6-year-old. He also says that the simpler is better because Einstein said, make it simple as possible, but not one bit simpler. So that leads me to the next portion of this paragraph, or the next paragraph on this page, around designing your own plan, making sure that we design our own plan, we tweak as we grow, and we make sure that we're adamant about learning. He says, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't let the info guide take you deep sea diving. And if you haven't even learned how to snorkel, come on, that was a whole word right there. He says, many people will want you to need them, but you have to show them that you don't need them until you need them. He says, do not rush to get to expert level. Do not rush to get to expert level, because there are levels to business. Did anybody else circle that, highlight that, star that, something? Did anybody else do that? Did anybody else do that? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. He began to talk about his journey with building TonyGaskin'sAcademy.com. And we've heard him share this story around how he built the site and he had put so much into it, and not just his own level of effort, but the financial resources, paying, like we see in the book, how much it ended up costing him. I think he said how much the guy was charging him, and building the site out, and it crashed. It crashed. And he was able to find an alternative that was way more cost effective and way more beneficial and easier to navigate, and that works with his flow. But I love the fact that he admitted at the bottom of this page, around when he was sharing his story with Tony Gaskin's Academy, basically saying, I'm taking a chance, and this could work beautifully, or it could be an expensive lesson that I'll be writing about in another book. He said, this site will be a site where students can buy the course and be able to automatically start watching the videos after they pay for the course. Come on. What he said is into fruition today. What he said is still what's happening right now. He says, I'll still teach live courses, which now he does all of the procuring and course purchasing and all of that, even for the live. I call the Zoom calls live events, because we are virtually live with them. We may not be live in a physical room, but he said, I'll still teach live courses, but this will be something that anyone can take at any time and not have to worry about me knowing when they're going to take my course, or have to worry about being available for a live session. Then he gave the story about the SEO, how he got scammed out of that. And the example at the bottom made me write down in the margins to make sure that whenever you're in business, negotiate. No matter who you're speaking to, what you're trying to procure, what you're trying to purchase, or what you're trying to sell, don't be afraid to negotiate. So if you are negotiating a contract with someone, meaning you're stating the price to them and they state a price back, you need to counter offer, because you should at least want to be able to meet somewhere in the middle. And even with that, Tony Gaskins took it a huge step further with this example, because he said, I had poured in so much before, and with the notion of I'm not going to spend what I can't afford to lose when the next situation happened, he told the person what his limit was. When he had asked the person, well, how much are you charging? They told him how much he was going to charge. And then Tony came back and said, well, this is my budget. And guess what? They said yes. They accepted Tony's budget. So if we don't go and try to counter offer or let people know what we have the capacity, or what we are willingly having the capacity to pay for, then you just might get shortchanged. You just might get overcharged, rather. And it could be vice versa. You could get shortchanged as well if you're on the servicing end and someone signing a contract with you for services they're going to be paying you for. He also talked about the whole situation between the first guy who did his SEO stuff and the second guy that he found the difference in the price point, he was like, oh man, I know that this person like literally scammed me out of money, charged me that much money a month. But he said from that scam forward, I decided to never implement anything in my business that I didn't fully understand. Also, if it sounds legit, but I still don't understand it, I don't pay no more than I'm willing to lose. And I'm reading from page 227. He said the most that he was willing to lose a month. And basically he took the difference between what the second guy, what he stated his price to the second guy, and the second guy accepted it versus what the first guy stated his price was and Tony accepted it. It was a huge gap. It was a huge gap. I think I circled game changer. Let me see if it's too many strategic gems in here. Y'all got to get the book, but I'm reading from page 227, last paragraph or the last chapter, like the last half of the page. Okay, I think I can read some of this. If it doesn't make sense to you, then don't do it. If you feel like you need to do it, then get enough information so that it can make sense to you. Or you can find somebody who knows enough information and they know it well enough to explain it to you. And not only explain it to you, but to explain it to a 6-year-old. He also says that if it still doesn't make sense, then that means it may be time to run. So this is kind of like a little mini rubric that we could use as like a checkpoint when we are engaging with other businesses, because as business owners, we have to conduct business with other businesses. Not only are we going to be servicing customers and our clientele, but we're also going to be servicing or receiving services from other businesses. And so we all know that your needs have to be met. Their needs are going to have to be met. And we have to be willing to communicate that and not be so accustomed to just accepting whatever the first price is. And sometimes that may even mean that you have to shop around. I know there could be instances where it could be like a desperate situation, like you need something done like immediately and you don't have time to research. But even in those instances like that, where you find yourself in situations where you have to make a sudden decision, that is probably because you never thought about that particular scenario happening. And when we go into the space of planning, because again, business is mainly, of course, around servicing whoever your clientele is, but it's also about making sure that you're making effective decisions and having that process to do so behind the scenes before your clients or your customer base even get to experience what it is that you offer. So we should be constantly planning for those things. It's no different than if you're planning for your debt elimination journey. One of the things that I teach inside of my financial goal setting course is that you have to identify the obstacles. So you go through exercises to think of what can come up along the way that could derail you. Because once you're able to identify those things, you can create a mitigation plan. You can create some form of mitigation to not allow the thing when it comes to literally put you at a halt or maybe even put you in the ground because we're not fully prepared. So let's even think of that and put that in the mindset of our business. I know we can be so optimistic when it comes to the business because we've created it and we have all of these high hopes. But we have to understand that everybody doesn't operate in integrity. We have to understand that we might just get smoothed over by another business owner. We just might have to understand that customers may not honor their word. We may just have to understand, what are we going to do if a customer does do a chargeback? How are you going to handle that? So looking at it from all aspects, what could come up? What would you do if you tried to put in an application for some funding and you don't get approved, but you're putting all your hopes on this thinking that, okay, I know I'm going to be able to use these resources. I know I'm going to get approved for this, so I can use it for X, Y, and Z. And then when that doesn't happen, you're pre-planning all of these things off of income that you don't even have. And then what? So literally, when we're thinking about this, because this is our business segment. This is our business segment. Come on. Lisa Smile says, that's one thing I'm learning. If it don't make sense to me, I'm not signing nothing. You better come on and say it. I had to walk away from a couple, but I feel at peace. And I know I will get the right deal under the right guidance. Bless that word, Lisa Smiles. You better bless that word. And I think the most important piece of what you said is the peace behind it. It's the peace behind it, because if you feel peace behind it, then you know it's going to be all right. And if you don't, and if you feel any anxiety around a certain situation, that may be your sign to run. What did he say on here? You may need to run. That may be the sign to run. So listen to your discernment. Listen to your discernment. If you don't understand it, if it don't make sense to you, if you haven't had time to research it, you can walk away, because the next opportunity will present itself. Amen. Lisa says this book is right on time. It sure is. Tracy Ann in the room. Hey, Tracy Ann. Tracy Ann in the room. Hey, Tracy Ann. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Tracy. Tracy Ann in the room. Hey, Tracy Ann. Okay, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Negotiating. Come on, Lisa. Get them negotiation skills up. Come on. I love to see it. I love to see it. Let me go ahead and put that up here as well. If you missed the sign up for Tony Gaskin's class tonight, feel free to keep your eye out for the next one by making sure that you go to TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, and not only just go to TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, but make sure that you get yourself on the mailing list for TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, because we find out when the Saturday courses come before everybody else do, because we on the email list, so just get on the list. 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 All right. Coach Sheena's here too. Hey, Coach Sheena, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Coach Sheena. Let's go. Come on. Akila's in the building as well. Come on. Y'all done came on in. Came on in. I love it. Yes, everyone don't have good integrity. Yep, they don't. Acacia says, grab your access to the Financial Goal Setting online course. Yes. Thank you so much. Look, Q Scott even saying, good for you, Lisa. Come on. Yes, and yes. Yes. All right, guys. How look at we on time? So that's what I wrote in the margins on the bottom of page 226. Counter offer what's been offered. I wrote, be willing to negotiate. Counter offer whatever has been offered. Counter offer it. So that means even if you put an offer out, then somebody's going to counter you. So when they counter you, then you got to counter that, because now you just received an offer that you now have to counter. So negotiate. Oh, and I remember the name of the book that I was telling you guys. I can't remember the name of it, but it's The Art of Negotiation. That's one of the books that I had to read inside of my leadership development program that I was in a couple years ago. Yeah, the art of negotiation. Oh my gosh, that just took me back to a flashback of the exercise that we had to do. It was arduous. All of these different people and all of their perspectives, and I didn't know if they were like really trying to think things through and negotiate, or if they was just trying to put on a show, because we was in a fellowship class. So I'm like, y'all doing too much. Like, sorry. Oh man, that just took me back. But I made it through. So that whole section at the bottom of page 227, I said that was a game changer. So if you read all of that, that'll close us out of chapter 19. And the very last paragraph says, be in control of your destiny and design your own plan. The success or the failure of your company will rest with you. Let's pick this up again. We have to be in control of our destiny, and we have to design our own plans for our business, for our dream, whatever it is that we're building and that we're chasing. He also says that the success and the failure of that thing that we're building and that we're dreaming is going to rest within us. He says, so it'll be easier to live with your own mistakes than somebody else's. And that concludes chapter 19. And that'll take us over into chapter 20 around the corporate crossover. So I'll tell you guys, admittedly, when I first saw the chapter title, I was immediately thinking corporate crossover, meaning leaving your job to like crossing over from corporate to entrepreneurship. Like that's what I thought. But as I started reading it, I was like, oh, that's not really what this is going to be about. So even though we only had to read the first 2 pages of chapter 20, the corporate crossover, we're just going to go over some of the things and then we'll jump into our next reading assignment so that we can close out in a healthy time and get ready for class tonight. I'm excited for class. I don't know about y'all, but I have a feeling that tonight's branding class with Tony Gaskins is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. I believe it. I believe it. So on page 229, Tony Gaskins says, if you are consistent, you will get there no matter how long it takes. If you are consistent, you will get there no matter how long it takes. He says some people will get there before you. Some people will start there, but you will get there before them. Hold on, did I say that right? Some people will start there, but you will get there if you aren't already. Misreading stuff. I've always been self-conscious about my country accent. This is what Tony Gaskins is saying. He says, I'm also self-conscious about my race, although not as much anymore. Self-conscious about my age. I'm self-conscious about being an independent brand. For those reasons, I couldn't see when I would get the opportunity to do a corporate crossover. So now he goes into defining what he means by corporate crossover back then, because Tony wrote this book in 2016 and it was published in 2017. He says that what he means by corporate crossover is crossing over into doing business and partnerships and engagements and contracts with major brands, major companies, and so forth. So although he was already a life coach with the NBA league and a lot of the professional sports teams, those are corporate, but he didn't see it as that. His vision or his idea of corporate crossover was something completely different, although he had corporate contracts already. Come on, because he was signed by the NBA, the NBPA, NFL teams, and NCAA teams. So he had contracts. He had contracts to serve as a life coach, but he wanted corporate crossover on a different capacity. He talked about how his exposure to even getting to those leagues, those sports leagues, came about. Again, his Twitter. He was consistent with his Twitter. He was delivering his messages. People started to see him. People started to pay attention to what he was saying. They were internalizing his words, and they started to slide privately in that DM. They started to slide privately in that DM, requesting coaching. Then he would get into connections with some pro athletes. And he said that he started to inquire. He started to inquire. And I think this is one of the things that can sometimes hinder us or hold us back in business, because we may be afraid to ask a question that could be the connector to the very thing that we want or the very thing that we're desiring. So in this case, the pro athlete was the connector. But he said I had no connections to any other teams other than through the players, but I didn't feel comfortable asking a player to connect me to a decision maker in the front office. So Tony still didn't reach out or leverage his access to the pro athlete that he knew could potentially get him in front of the faces of the decision makers of the leagues. He said that he couldn't ask for anything like that. So he did what? He went back and he did it his hard way. He kept doing what he was already doing. He stayed consistent in what he was already doing. He said that I mentored a lot of the pro athletes at no charge. He said some of them I'd visit in their hometown or in their city where they were playing. I would stop by their home and just talk. He also said that I didn't want anything. I just wanted to help. Ooh, that just sent chills through my whole spine. That just sent chills through my whole spine. Y'all not going to understand why, but that just sent chills through my whole spine. He says, I didn't want anything. I just want to help. He also said, that he did that same approach and he took that same approach. Look, y'all shouting. He took that same approach. He took that same approach online. By taking that same approach online that he was given to pro athletes without charging, who he was mentoring one-on-one, in person, going to where they are, going to their homes, going to wherever. He said he took that same approach online. He said, my goal was to motivate and inspire. He says, well, one day out of nowhere, we get ready to go. One day out of nowhere, come on, y'all. Suddenly, I noticed a general manager for an NBA team started following me. So out of the blue, a general manager to an NBA team, which was what he was seeking after, which was what his goal, which was what he did not want to go through the pro athlete to try to get in front of, came knocking on his door through Twitter. He continues on by saying, then a couple of days later, a player development guy from a different team called me. Then he said the players from other teams started calling me. There was a lot going on at once, and I felt I was so close to something. Woo! I feel like I'm finna elevate and rise. Woo, Lord. He says, I spoke to the GM in the Twitter inbox. Surprisingly, he was a humble and cool guy. He says a little bit further down, about a week or two later, I got a call from the assistant GM, and we talked for a good bit. I was so excited and so pumped that I probably made him think I was crazy. I always do that. I've been waiting for my moment for so long that when it finally came, I could not contain myself. DDTV fam, the only exercise that I have for you tonight, because I'm going to keep it light for you. The only exercise that I have for you tonight is to define what your moment is. Tony Gaskin said, I had been waiting for my moment. What is your moment? What does your moment look like? What is that peak that you have been seeking? What is it? And then when it comes to fruition, how you going to act? How you going to act? So just define your moment. We are at 39 minutes after the hour. So let's go ahead and go into what our next reading assignment is going to be for tomorrow, between tonight and tomorrow. So we're going to, finish reading that last sentence from page 30 after where I just ended. We're going to go from 228. We're going to go from 231. And that's going to allow us to close out the corporate crossover chapter, which is chapter 20. And it'll go into chapter 21, influencing influencers. Influencing influencers. So we're going to read all the way to 238. So our reading assignment for tonight, between tonight, tomorrow is fine because you have plenty of time tomorrow, is to read from pages 231 to 238. 231 to 238 is our reading assignment for day 28, which is tomorrow. So the community post is going to show the quote of the day. And I feel real bad that I misquoted this thing because I literally didn't even notice it until I just read it on the screen. So I don't think any other community posts went out. So I may end up fixing it and taking it down. Yeah, because I don't think I had, yeah, I need to do this today because stuff's scheduled to go out tomorrow. So I'm going to make sure that I replace that and revise the quote of the day and put it out there so that it's quoted correctly. And that's a good thing too, because I didn't even get a chance to post it to Twitter yet, but I'm gonna post it to Twitter today once I fix it. Now I can fix it. And then I'll make sure that I'll be good with the quotes tomorrow. Make sure there's no misquoting inside. Okay, everybody, in case she says, grab the My Budget Outline template. Thank you so much. Oh, we had a good budget meeting this morning. I forgot about how good our budget meeting was this morning. It was so good. Thank you so much, Q Scott, for putting the assignment pages up there. I'm going to go ahead and let that be visible so that folks can be able to see it. I don't know why it doesn't scroll. Okay, it's starting to scroll now so people can see the pages. I'm scared that it's going to stop scrolling once I go over here. Oh, Lisa Smile says, when I find my moment, I'm going to beat my tambourine. Yes, you will, Lisa. Yes, you will. Queen Divinity in the room. Where's Queen Divinity? Let me say hi, Queen Divinity. Where's Queen Divinity? Yes, Queen Divinity. Oh, hold on. Scroll. My mouse is going crazy. Where? I literally just saw Queen Divinity and then scrolled to the bottom. Queen Divinity, I promise you, I just saw your name and then it just, here we go, just arriving. Hey, Queen Divinity, so good to see you. Hope you and Daddy Thurman and everybody's doing well. Welcome on into this room. Welcome on into this room. Let's go. Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and close out because we got to get into that live stream room. I mean, I can say live stream. We got to get into Mr. Tony Gaskin's Saturday school tonight because we starting at 8 p.m. pronto. So hopefully everybody that's here, we're gonna be able to see on the class. If not, make sure that you sign up for the next one. I want to say a huge thank you and huge appreciation to Acacia and Q Scott for moderating tonight's live stream, for all of your support, for being here, and just everything. Just appreciate you ladies so much for everything. Also want to acknowledge the DDTV fan members and our Patreon pledgees. We had our live stream today, which was, I tell y'all, it's just like how crazy things happen in a day, but it was amazing. I think we had a good call. We had a good conversation during our Patreon only live stream. And then we had an amazing budget live stream today. And then we're closing out. And then we got our next class. So shout out to all of the DDTV fan members for being in the room, dropping your emojis and using all of the DDTV emojis and stamps and so forth. I want to thank you guys for all of your support. And I want to remind you that your financial prosperity awaits you. And so does your financial sanity. You already know what I'm going to tell you to do. And as what? Get to work. See you guys back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Get your readings in. Bye.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia